there, good looking. Join me for this quick series that will strengthen the pelvic floor muscles as well as work our core muscles. So lace up your runners, or don't. You could also do this with no runners, and let's go get busy. Hello there, hey, welcome. I'm PJ from fitnesswithpj.com, and hey, I help women over the age of 40 reclaim the tush of their 20s. If that interests you, if you're a woman, if you're over 40, hey, click the subscribe. I would love to keep working with you. Now, in the intro, I forgot to mention, we do need one tool. I'm using a small squishy ball, a bender ball, bar ball, it's also called. You can also use a yoga block, as well as a soccer ball, volleyball, anything smallish that we can squeeze in between the knees will work. So, you ready? Let's get busy. All right, we're starting with a pelvic tilt. Now, I want you to place your fingertips underneath your low back. So we're doing a mixture of pelvic floor strengthening movements as well as traditional core movements. Now, pick the head up, slide the chin in. From a pelvic tilt position, we want to think about not using the legs and only use the lower lumbar and pelvic region. So, flatten your low back and press your low back into your fingertips, and then allow the low back to lift off your fingertips. Do it again. Now, once you've got the sensation of that low back flattening and lifting, you can by all means remove your hands and then maybe place them on your thighs to be aware and to give yourself a cue not to tighten into the quads. So this is done quite often in a lot of workouts, and it's a great way to warm up into the pelvis region and into the lower lumbar. But it can also be done incorrectly by using too much thigh and too much glute. So just try to get it through the core muscles. And maybe hands on the thighs will give you that gentle reminder that you don't want to tighten those areas. I find most people will tighten through the quads and really push through their heels. Last two. Good, now press the low back into the floor and hold for 3, 2, 1, and lift it up. Now, do it again. This time, think about drawing the belly button in towards the spine as we flatten the low back. We're holding, but still able to breathe and relax. So this is firing up, do it again, a deep core muscle called your transverse, which is an important component for both core health as well as pelvic floor health. Good. 2 more. Once again, being aware that we're not using too much glutes and there's nothing happening in the thighs. Last one. And release. All right, let's start with some Kegels, which is your fairly basic pelvic floor strengthening exercise, and it's literally mimicking the action of stopping urination mid-flow. So let's pull up into that region and hold for 3, 2, 1, and release. So you could, in effect, every time you go to the bathroom, work on your pelvic floor muscles. Do it again. When you're going to the bathroom, and just stop mid-flow, strengthening into those muscles in the pelvic floor, and release. Now be aware, do it again. As you're doing this, we're not letting the shoulders come up to the ears, upper body's relaxed. This is a really subtle movement, and it may even feel like you're not doing anything, but you are. Here we go, bring it up again. And relax. Now grab that yoga ball or the yoga block, and we're going to add squeezes while we do this. So pull the knees in together, and then pull the pelvis floor muscles up as if you're stopping urination mid-flow, and release. Good. Here we go. Pull up. And release. Ball squeezes, pull up. And release. And squeeze the ball. Pull the pelvic floor in. Once again, the best way to describe it, and the way it's been described to me by physios, is just to pretend you're stopping yourself from peeing midstream. Pull in, 3, 2, 1, release. Last 2, 3, 2, 1, release. Last one, 3, 2, 1, release. Bring your legs up into tabletop, knees lined up with the hips. Same movement that we just did, but now legs are elevated. Hands are going to press against the thighs as we try to bring the thighs in towards you while you also squeeze the ball. So there's a lot going on with this one. So at any time you can bring it back to feet on the ground where we just were. All right, so let's give it a try. First, pull the pelvic floor muscles in. Second, squeeze the ball. Now try to bring the knees towards you and you're resisting with your hands for 3, 2, 1, release. Here we go. Now let's bring it all together all at once. Good. Pelvic floor, ball squeeze, knees in, and release. Beautiful. Again, bring it in. 3, 2, 1, release. Bring it in. 3, 2, 1, release. Bring it in. 3, 2, 1, release. Last one. 3, 2, 1, release. Keep the ball or a yoga block there. We've got a little bit of muscle contraction in the inner thighs as we now roll the hips up, the tailbone up off the floor, the back off the floor, and hold for 3, 2, 1, and then slowly lower with the upper back coming to the floor first, then the lower, then the glutes. There we go. Roll up again. Push through the heels, lift up, squeeze into the glutes, and release down. Good. Lift up. And down. So bridge pattern, working into the glutes, hips, inner thighs. So more pelvic stability here than more pelvic floor strengthening with this. So we've got a mix of everything here. Core, traditional core movements, pelvic stability, and pelvic floor training. Good. Hi, Bella. Bye, Bella. I don't know if she showed up in camera. That's my other dog who's very elusive. She's very rarely on YouTube. Last 2. Hold it there for a breath. And release. Good. One more. And release. Seated position. Legs hip width apart. And sit up right on your tush, on your sit bone. So you might even want to push the meaty part of the rear end out of the way. We want to sit nice and tall and create a lot of space in this area where we quite often don't have space because we're crunched over computer desks or just not sitting in a posture the spine likes, and creating that space for the abdomen as well as our internal organs. So sitting up nice and tall. Hands light behind the ears. Slowly twist to one direction without bending forward and back to center. Good. And I'm going to turn our timer on for this one. So the twist might not be very much. You'll notice for me it's not that much. I want you to make sure that you're twisting as much as you are able to while still sitting up nice and tall. Your legs are active. Toes are pulled towards your shins. There's definitely some muscle contraction in the quads. This is a seated twist, working in the oblique, so more of a traditional core exercise, while also getting that space for the internal organs. Time. Traditional plank. And if you'd like, you can take that small ball or yoga block and place it in between the knees. Just add a little bit more into the inner thigh. Lift yourself up into plank. To modify, just drop the knees on the ground, okay? Pull the shoulders away from the ears. If you start to feel your low back, tighten up your glutes. So this exercise isn't doing anything for our pelvic floor. Again, remember, we're doing a mixture of traditional core, pelvic floor strengthening, and pelvis stabilization moves. Now I'm squeezing the ball in between the knees so I get a little bit into the inner thigh. Time. Side plank. Elbow underneath the shoulder. Bottom knee to modify, otherwise feet are stacked, lift the hip up. Now extend this top arm up, bring it underneath the body and try to tap the far edge of your mat. Good, and if you're not on a mat, then just try to tap as far back behind you as you can. Working the obliques isometrically here, as well as hips, and no doubt you'll feel your upper body. Slow and controlled. Time. All right, other side. Again, bottom knee to modify. Take yourself up high. Pull that ear and shoulder away on that bottom arm. Reach that top arm straight up so it lines up with the shoulder. And then come under, touch behind you, rotate back up. You can also scissor the legs if you're having a hard time holding the balance. Try that top leg in front. Pick that hip up high. Time. On your back. Knees bent at 90 degrees, arms extended. Now pull that belly button in like we did earlier. Pelvic tilt your low back into the floor. Drop one arm and the opposite leg to your mat. And slowly bring it back for dead bug. To make it more challenging, straighten the legs and allow a straight leg to come down. The entire time though, you're remembering that pelvic tilt, pulling the belly button in towards the spine and feeling contact with the low back and your ground the entire time. Working deep muscles of the core here, your transverse. Breathe. Time. Final move on all fours. Knees apart underneath the hips, wrists under shoulders. Now pull the belly button in towards the spine. Touch your left hand to the right thigh, extend out, and pull in. Hips stay squared, shoulders stay squared. Reaching at fingertips to toes. Working extensors of the spine and little muscles up each vertebrae called your multifidi. So again, more core, traditional core stability work being done with this exercise. Don't overarch the back when you extend that leg behind you. Sometimes more is not better. So just get the leg level with your ground, and that should be enough. All right, here we go. Reset the core, belly button in towards the spine. Right hand touches the opposite thigh and extend. Good job. Shoulders and hips stay level with your ground. Once you've seen me, get your eye line down so that back of the neck is long, lined up with the spine. This is our last move. time. Awesome job. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. Before you leave me though, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoyed this series, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Now here's a couple of other suggestions too. Drop a comment below, let me know what you thought of this, and if you're looking for some stretches to complement what we just did, if you stay to the very end of this workout, the last 15 seconds, which is gonna roll real soon, just click on the tile that I'll put up for you and you can continue, giving your body some love. And if you've been to the workouts in the past, hey, we would love to see your support on Patreon. The information's down there in the description, but it is literally due to the people on Patreon that we can keep these workouts going here on YouTube. You see, it does cost money to put the workouts and produce them for YouTube, and yeah, we don't get much from YouTube. So it is really only due to the Patreon community that we can keep these workouts going. So if you can support the channel, we would appreciate it. And to those of you that are already supporting the channel, mwah, a big wet one to you. Have yourself a great day. Bye.